And hi, everybody. This is Fraser Goodman with a clip here I'm going to play of Brendon Daniels and his band. So let me just put this on for you, and I'll just go with the screen. Well, that was my guest, Brendon Daniels, and he's just getting his way to get on the stream here. But while we're waiting for him, that was a sample, a very long sample of Brendan's band, and I'd just like to share my screen if I can of some of Brendan's collective artists that he works with. So he's got a great site called Loaded Mind. So presently he's with Vern Roberts, and they're playing at Steampunk, which is this weekend, with Carly Williams, partner, and that's the video um, that we just heard. And he's a very regular player, and he'll be performing at the Diggers and Sports on Monday, Jazz in Paradise. So that's his gig there, and he plays with a whole sort of different players. And maybe if I can go into his photos, you can see the variety of different people. Well, that he plays with, but um, anyway, there's a whole lot of photos here of Brendon. So whilst we're waiting for him, I basically wanted to affirm that he is our guest on Monday at the Diggers and Sports at Gold Coast. And if you haven't been there before, I've been running that with a live band for the last 2 years, with a whole lot of different artists, and that's been a coordination challenge to try and bring some fresh DNA of people every Monday at 1 p.m. at the Diggers and Sports. And so finally, Brendan's agreed to be one of our guests for that day. So he'll be coming on shortly, I hope, and he'll be able to share with you some of his thoughts about what he plans to be playing and what he's up to. And so I appreciate you joining us in for today. And let me see if I can find another video um, now whilst he's coming on board. And let me just find that show. Okay. Um, yeah. Okay. Great to
Can you
see
hear
you.
me?
Yeah, bro. We were just playing the video. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Hello?
Oh no, I think I can't
You,
hear you.
you can't hear me? Okay. I wonder
I
why.
can't hear you. I think it's due to my. Hang on, let me.
Hello?
Oh, now I can hear you.
Okay. Good morning. Good morning, Brendan. Good
Good
morning.
morning, Fraser.
Hey, we just had the benefit of playing your a bit of your music, if you didn't mind. I don't know if you can hear that.
No, I can't hear it.
Are you on your mobile? Are you on your
Yeah.
mobile? Oh, yeah. Okay. So, for the benefit of the audience, you won't be able to see what I played, but I just played a snippet of your promo um, to the audience,
Oh,
and
thank you.
yeah, no, that's okay. And also there was you've got a big range of music that you guys were covering there. So you want to cover? I know you've had a big range of different artists that you've played with in the last couple of years. So this is one of the combos of 70s and 80s that you're producing, right? You know?
I don't think there's. I think music really deteriorated after 1985. So I think 1985 was 8 years old. After that, it's kind of. Well, there's been good music, but I think in the 70s, especially in early 80s, just with all the genres and all the fusion, there were just amazing players, and you had the jazz influence on the rock with the Steely Dan, and like I would say some of the R&B almost rock influence on Miles Davis, and which really created that fusion scene. And for me, I think that the 70s was, I guess,
Yeah.
uh,
Okay.
for me, I guess the peak of music.
Yeah, and for the audience that is getting this live stream out to YouTube and Instagram, they probably haven't had the benefit of um, getting to know who you are and where you're from and how you evolved into the music. Would you like to give us a bit of a story about yourself, where you're from, and how you
Yeah,
got involved?
certainly. My name's Brendon Daniel, born in Te Kuiti, New Zealand. I got my first guitar as a 3-year-old. My dad cut it out of a I didn't know what it was. It was a fender strap
Huh.
plywood cut out, and I had a bit of rope, a hole in each end, and I used to carry it everywhere with me. And so I've always been into music. I had a professional rugby background when I was younger, and through that we had some rugby bands. We weren't the greatest bands, but we had ready-made crowds. So, like even before I started properly getting into music, sometimes after the game we're playing in front of 1,000 people, and there were probably,
Wow.
not that it's a competition, but there were definitely better musicians
Yeah.
around than us. And I've always played the guitar in my bedroom, and I've been into a bit of amateur production. I've had songs on the radio, so I pursued, not for financial gain, but I pursued the production side of things back in New Zealand. And then it wasn't probably until the last 3 or 4 years coming to the Gold Coast and having the population to support a lot of artists being able to gig all over the place, and that really set things going, playing in the live scene locally. So really gigging for me, week in, week out, has only occurred over the last 3 years. And I'm
Yeah.
40. I'm 46 soon, so it's never too late. Life
Yeah.
begins at 40.
And when we're talking, we're the audience, we're talking about Brendan playing on the Gold Coast, around the Gold Coast, particularly. Do you want to talk about some of those venues that you play at and with
I
who?
just I'll talk about how I got into it. So
Mm, yeah,
during the COVID period, I put out advertisements on Gold Coast Musicians Network, which has been very helpful. And I met Lyle Kekina, and we got together and we were recording stuff online. Then we started gigging together. And I guess the highlight for me thus far musically was being part of Kevin Kepper's band. This was a couple of years ago, and we were
no, mm,
playing almost exactly the same uh, kind of music that we're attempting to play now. So the project that we're trying to get up and running has basically come from the ashes of the project with Kevin. He's been in the Koi Boys. He's a busy guy. We did 3 or 4 shows with him, with Dean Hudaweda on bass, Richie
yes,
Zapaloy on keyboards, Todd Burns on drums, and myself. And so it was a real baptism of fire because they are really good musicians. So I had to knuckle down, and I was putting in 12, 14, 16-hour days just so I could keep up. So I have to work hard as a musician. It doesn't come as naturally as rugby. I love it. It's in my heart more than rugby, but in terms of the technical side and practicing, it doesn't come as naturally. I have
yeah.
to practice a lot.
Yeah, and we really enjoy. Well, I particularly enjoy your performances when I have backed you up,
Likewise.
and I've watched your live performances. You're a very busy musician every week, bringing together a lot of good musicians around you. And prior to you coming on, I did play your promo with Vernon and Dean, playing a whole assortments of different songs. It was very, very enjoyable. So this Monday at the Diggers and Sports and Surface Paradise, you have your show. Can you talk a bit about it? What you're going to be presenting? Would that be okay? Mm.
Yeah, certainly. I don't come from a jazz background, but there are elements of it that I like. So I'll be playing some familiar standards. One of the songs I'll be playing is I'm not sure who sings it, but it's from the 20s, traditional jazz. 5'2", Eyes of Blue.
Hmm.
Um,
There's a French
yeah,
song there
I'll do
too.
a little snippet. I don't know if
Yeah,
it's in tune.
fantastic, fantastic.
Five foot two, eyes of blue. But what those 5 can do? Has anybody seen my girl? So that we'll be doing that.
Oh, more, mate. Oh, that was great.
On Monday. I think I was about to make a mistake then because I don't play the ukulele often, so I thought I'll make it look as though I consciously stopped, but I think I was going into a wrong chord then, so I might be to practice that.
When you sent your summary of songs, I think I might have, was there a French song in there? No.
Yep, there is.
Oh,
There's a French
okay.
song when I was playing rugby professionally. I lived in London, but I spent a lot of time in Paris, and I actually spent 1 year playing professional rugby in the top 14 in the south of France. So I thought that I would share some of the French music that I enjoyed. And they, as you probably know, Fraser, have a big jazz influence in
Mm,
France. They love jazz, they love
absolutely.
blues,
Yeah.
and so a lot of
Yeah.
their music has that inflection. So I thought I would share some of that on the day.
Yeah, and so much so, I'll just cover a little snippet like Miles Davis, a whole lot of Afro American artists went over there because they were accepted first in Europe
Yeah, they
before
love.
they were first accepted in Europe before they were in America. You know what I mean? They were
Yeah,
just that's
yeah.
how it,
This is true.
you know. But hey, you got your guitar out, so let's get into that music, you know.
um,
So,
so I'm
hey,
doing some
can I
traditional.
ask you what's the name of that song and why did you choose that French song? You know.
The, the name of the song is by a famous French guy called Joe Dassin, and the song is Champs Elysees because that basically the party place in Paris where you go. It's all the when the French win anything, that's where they go and walk down the street and
Champs
celebrate. When
Elysees
things are going wrong in France, that's where they go and
and protest.
protest. And near there is Arc de Triomphe, and then around there is the crazy roundabout with about 10 different exits. I never drove on that roundabout, and I never wanted to.
Yeah. So
But yeah,
so
everything goes on. I'll see if
yeah.
I can do it. Oh, Champs-Élysées, oh, Champs-Élysées, au soleil, de la pluie, à midi, il y a tout ce que vous voulez aux Champs-Élysées. That
Oh,
kind of encaptures, that's just the chorus, but that encaptures everything goes on from sunrise to sunset. There's everything you want to do, good and bad, on the Champs Elysees,
wow, man,
or
that's
good and naughty. Lots of
that-
naughty things.
tell me, um, you touched a little bit on your rugby career before you moved here. Was that something that evolved from New Zealand, and then you were caught up and captured to move to Europe, or how did that?
Um, I left. I left New Zealand quite young. Every kid wanted to, who plays rugby in New Zealand, wants to be an All Black. I was no different. But when the opportunity to go overseas came, the pull of having that adventure superseded my want to be um, an All Black. And if I be honest, I probably didn't have the discipline to be an All Black. I was, and I still am to a certain extent. I know when to knuckle down, but I'm a good time voice. I like to have a good time. I like to balance. Wow, probably like probably like too much of a good time, which you need to knuckle down and be disciplined if you want to be an All Black. But I had a reasonably successful professional career overseas, just bubbling under the uh, international level. Played with a lot of World Cup winners. Played with some of the greats of the game, and I'm very grateful. And I wouldn't have probably had that. I stayed in New Zealand. I got a little bit of grief about going overseas so young, but New Zealand hadn't won a World Cup in between 1987 and 2011, so 24 years. So although I was getting grief for playing in England, I was actually playing with World Cup winners. The All Blacks weren't World Cup winners at the time.
Wow, wow.
They
And
kept losing at the World Cup.
and these places you mentioned, France. Did you go anywhere else in Europe and play, or
I yes, I played it predominantly in England
no?
for 10 years. I played in France for a year. I played in Edinburgh, Scotland for a year. That's just below, it's European Cup level, just below international level. When I retired, I spent 3 years playing and coaching in the US, and I even spent a
Oh,
year
wow,
in
US.
Trinidad and Tobago. That would be
Wow,
the most exotic place I live, I
yeah.
guess.
So in all of those places, that guitar went around with you. It went
Yeah,
everywhere.
this one has, yeah.
Wow,
This one
wow.
has. Some have come and gone along the way, but yeah, this one's been here for most of it.
Yeah. Okay. So you were already performing in the mateship bands around the world while you're doing a rugby career, and then when you landed here, uh, I don't know if this is true, but when you landed in Gold Coast, this is when you started to move to a regular band mateship type of approach. Is that what
We
happened? Yeah.
started off doing duo gigs with various people. Obviously, singers are in a high demand, so I needed to work with 3 or 4 different singers so that if they get a well-paying gig that I could have matched, and I could bring someone else in. So the duo gigs started first, and I even did a few solo gigs, but I didn't enjoy them as much after singing with really good singers because every song I do, I have to take down. You don't even recognize the song when I'm singing because it's taking it down 2.5 steps. So it's so low. I
No.
mean, so
Well,
I won't do solo gigs. I might do on a very special occasion. Well, what am I talking about? I'm doing a solo gig on Monday. What am
you
I talking
sure are.
about?
You
But
sure are.
I've picked songs that are within my range, and I'll only be up on stage probably for 45, 50 minutes. I'm not doing anything. What would be, I'm just trying to think, what would be a really hard high song? There's heaps. I'm doing songs that are in my range and hopefully that people connect with and enjoy.
Yeah, yeah, I've noticed too that not only is you're a performer, but I had to listen to some of your great songs on SoundStream. You know that you did some originals in your
Yeah.
production there, and they were fantastic. They were great. So that's something that you ran parallel with performing. You're doing your own production, correct? Is that right?
Less so now. Before, that's the guess the downside of gigging is that I am less creative. I know more songs now than I've ever known, but if I try and write original, it's so hard. It's like, my mind says, it's like I'm copying. That sounds like such and such a song. That sounds like, so it's really hard
Mm.
just to say, you know what, that came from some place in my mind, and I wasn't intentionally trying to copy anything else. But when you know a lot of music and you're trying to make your own and you're doing covers for me at the moment, it is difficult.
Yeah, maybe I suggest you start writing them all in 12-bar blues.
I'm trying to think if I ever written a 12-bar blues. Oh, well, why not?
Yeah, that'll be a good thing. We'd love to hear what you produce. Yeah, do you You know what? Listening to some of your musics, particularly, you're playing a whole consortium of Steely Dan, some really modern. It's got some great feel. So, and you got some great artists. Like you got Dean on bass, you got Vernon on the drums, singers, all strong players. Really good combo there. Really enjoy that.
Well, they say they like playing with me because I mean I do take the professional attitude from rugby into music, and I've changed my mindset, as I said before, that music comes a little bit harder for me. Rugby was easy, and I don't put the work in that I probably should. Whereas now the shoe's on the other foot, and if I want to hang with these guys, I really need to practice. So it's been good for me just to knuckle down and practice all these songs and put a lot of time into what I'm doing. Because if I don't, they're not going to want to play with me.
Yeah,
I'll be
and
messing up all the time, and they've played with some really good players. And I mean, I'm never down on myself. But there are some phenomenal guitar players out there. I just know that if I work hard, then I can carry on gigging hopefully, and get the opportunity when they present themselves to play with some good players like yourself. I've been up on stage. I haven't played the guitar with you yet, I don't think, Fraser. Or maybe once or twice.
maybe
I'm
what's the fun?
looking forward to that side of
Yeah,
things on Mondays, playing the
uh,
guitar. I'm doing a couple of old blues standards. I'm doing Robert Cray, Right Next Door,
yeah,
Strong Persuader.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I'll sing, and that's one of the very few solos I can hopefully play without messing up.
No, we're looking forward to it. Hey, I was going to say you just recently, maybe this year or last year, you went to America with the boys, and you went to this famous jazz blues bar. I can't remember the name of it, but
So
maybe
there's a
listen. Yep.
there's a place in Studio City, which is at the back of the Hollywood Hills, called the Baked Potato, and
That's
all
it.
the
That's it.
legendary session players in LA, like all the guys that played in Toto and Louis Shelton, who played there. So I went with the boys. I wasn't playing. I was entertainment coordinator because I lived in LA as well. So that was part of my rugby travels. I lived in
Wow.
West LA, so I know LA pretty well. And so I went
Wow.
across with them as the entertainment coordinator, and we
Yeah, yeah, and that was Louis Sheldon, who is very, very famous. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that show, and it's just such a great place.
Louis Shelton's a very humble man, and I didn't realize how well I knew his music. He played on the Monkees. I loved Daydream Believer when I was a kid. Still love the song. He played with Steely Dan on Black Cow. We played Black Cow as a trio.
Wow.
Played um, Jackson Five. Oh, maybe give me one more chance. I love that. Man, I play it. See if I can play it. That's part of it. That's a hack job. I went, oh,
Yeah.
maybe give me one more chance. I love that. And I didn't even know that it was Louis Shelton. And what I love about music and of that time, it's not about color. It's about whether you can play or not. And at the time it was a great leveler. All the good black players hanging out with the white players, hanging out with the brown players, etc., etc. And that was how you cut mustard, not on how you look or how tall you are. That's the great thing about music. Doesn't matter what you look like, it's how
Mm.
you play or how you sing.
Yeah. Wow. What a great way to end the session. And thank you for being my guest, Brendan. And we're looking forward to Monday for
Me
your
too.
show at the Diggers Club on the Surface Pros Gold Coast. So I hope everybody gets an opportunity to look for Brendan Daniels on Facebook. And if you're visiting us on Gold Coast, you're more than welcome. So thanks, Brendan. Thank you very, very much.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me on.
And
your interview, Fraser. I'll see you soon. I'll see you on Monday, if not earlier.
yep, take care. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Bye bye.